House Republicans are eyeing deep cuts to extend tax breaks for the wealthy. Their proposed budget calls for $2 trillion in spending cuts. Medicaid and food stamps would be dramatically reduced. The New York Times reports, quote, the economic agenda Republicans are now putting together on Capitol Hill would by and large help rich Americans, all while teeing up cuts to programs that provide health care and food to the poor. Joining us now, Democratic Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan of Virginia. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Congresswoman. You know, here we are. We watched the craziness in the Oval Office yesterday. That's one part of what's happening. We're watching the disintegration of, the federal government agency by agency. And there has been very little focus on the impact of moms and dads, grandmas and granddads across this country. And children. Especially children. Speak, if you, I just give you a moment to speak to that point so people appreciate that in all of the hurly-burly and the noise, that their real lives that are impacted. We were talking off air and a little bit in the last segment how people calling into talk radio shows, conservative talk radio shows, begging with these conservative hosts, please help us, be an advocate for us within this ecosystem to let them know they're hurting us.
Yes. They are. And, you know, people don't realize that Medicaid funds long-term care. So when your mother has to go into a nursing home or a memory care center, that's covered by Medicaid. It's the sickest children. It's pregnant women for up to a year after birth because a lot of women die in the first year. It's hardworking American people, but it also funds hospitals. I was in the state legislature in Virginia when we expanded Medicaid. If they do these cuts, over 630,000 Virginians will lose health care, but the rural hospitals that depend on that income, that depend on Medicaid reimbursements, will close, which is why Republicans in Virginia voted to expand Medicaid. And it's people in this country want to know that if they get sick, they can go to the doctor and get care without going bankrupt. But Medicaid also allows people to get preventative care so they don't get sick. Because when they do, they're coming to the hospital anyway. They're coming to the emergency room when it is, in some cases, too late. In some cases, way more expensive than if they had gotten preventative care. People will die because of these Medicaid cuts. And Republicans don't seem to care. They care more about these tax breaks for billionaires than for making sure that every American has access to quality health care when they need it.
Every Democrat voted against this. This was a vote to just move to the vote for the actual budget, but it included the cuts and everybody knew what they were voting for. Every Democrat in the House of Representatives voted against it. Now there's conversation because they're like, is the budget going to pass? We don't know, but we still need to fund the government. March 14th is the deadline. Now there's conversations from Republicans in the Senate and then some rumblings in the House that they might just have to do a straight up and down bill that just funds the government at the most basic levels for a short term and kicks the can down the road. They cannot do that without the support of Democrats. Will Democrats vote for that?
You know, it's really hard to make any kind of deal with Republicans when you know that they renege on them. And so, you know, we're having that conversation right now. But we need assurances that whatever we pass, the president is actually going to spend the money the way we tell him to spend it, which he's shown us right now that he won't. And so we're having that conversation. We'll think very seriously. We're going to do what causes the least harm to the American people, because right now, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and congressional Republicans, they are harming the American people to provide tax cuts for billionaires.
Well, to clarify that point, because we're going to hear a talking point from Republicans over and over again, which is this idea that there can be enough savings simply by rooting out fraud and waste and starting work requirements as it relates to Medicaid.
So the people that are on Medicaid that are not working are the sickest of the sick, children, pregnant women, or women on maternity leave. They're already working. Most of them are already working. What they're talking about is adding burdensome paperwork requirements to say, if you don't jump through all these extra hoops to prove to us that you're working, you're going to lose your health care. But that math is not going to math. There is not $880 billion of tax fraud and abuse anywhere in energy and commerce, where I serve, the only way you get to $880 billion is by very steep cuts to Medicaid that will hurt the American people.
For people who don't like bureaucracy, they are certainly adding a lot of layers of bureaucracy.
I mean, honestly, gaslighting us to the fullest. Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan.
Thank you.
Thank you for cutting through the noise this morning.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Up next is Elon.